Today's episode is brought to you by Dr. Jeffrey Halstead, DMD. Dr. Jeffrey Halstead has been Canandaigua's hometown dentist for more than 35 years, offering routine dental care as well as cosmetic dentistry, implants, and dentures by their highly trained and experienced staff. Visit them online at canandaiguadentistry.com or find them on Facebook and Instagram. What's going on at the Montezuma Audubon Center in Wayne County? Today, we get into that question and more as we check in with Center Director Chris Lajewski. Chris, thanks so much for being here today.
It's great to be with you, Josh.
So, bird migration update. Fall is really here. It feels like fall out there. What's going on?
Well, the waterfowl continue to pour into the Montezuma wetlands complex. We're pretty much at the peak of the duck, goose, and swan migration right now. We're seeing about 36 species of waterfowl stopping across the Montezuma wetlands complex. They're stopping for food, to rest, for something to drink as well. These are birds that largely spent the summer months up in the boreal forest of Canada, somewhere as far north as the Arctic tundra. And most are going to be going down to the Chesapeake Bay and Delaware Bay areas for the winter. Montezuma Wetlands Complex serves as a critically important stop for these birds during this long and arduous journey. So we've got a lot of birds passing through both the refuge as well as the New York State DEC areas in Savannah. Also wanted to highlight the fact that we're noticing an uptick in some of our wintering songbirds. These two were birds that are largely from the Great White North, but the winter is the best time to see them across Montezuma. Species like dark-eyed junco, the white-throated sparrow, and golden-crowned kinglet, just to name a few, are being found in Montezuma's forests and grasslands. So whether you're looking for larger birds like waterfowl or some of our melodious songbirds, there's something for you at Montezuma right now.
And what is our species spotlight for this month?
I wanted to highlight one of our duck species, and that's the redhead. Now, redheads are a medium-sized diving duck, and they've got a moderately sized large bill. The males are brightly colored. They have a striking cinnamon red head, a black chest and tail, and the rest of the body is gray overall. Females and immature birds are more of a plain brown color. And the males and the females both have a black tipped bill. And in flight, these birds exhibit gray flight feathers. Now, the best time to see them in the Finger Lakes region is during this winter season. They can be found in some of our larger Finger Lakes during the breeding season, but for the most part, the winter is the time to see the redhead. And you can find them in fairly large flocks or rafts if they're out on the water in the largest and deepest Finger Lakes, lakes like Cayuga, Seneca, Canandaigua, Skinny Atlas, that don't freeze over completely are great places to find the redheads. They're going to be feeding on aquatic plants, aquatic insects, usually diving down, and sometimes they do dabble from the surface, but generally they're a diving species. One other interesting fact about the redhead is that they generally will lay their eggs in each other's nests, and the redhead will even lay their eggs in other ducks' nests. So really interesting how they parasitize other ducks' nests, but then they'll also lay their eggs in nests of American bittern and even the predatory northern harrier. So really interesting species that can be found down at the refuge right now, as well as at the north end of Cayuga Lake, the redhead.
And this doesn't have any outcome on their young's life, just being in all these different nests?
Yeah, so parasitizing just means that they're going to let the parents of that species raise their chicks for them, which is quite fascinating. There are some songbirds that will also exhibit this trait. And ducks overall will generally lay their eggs in other birds' nests. Kind of a fascinating fact.
Interesting. You mentioned that they dive. How long do they dive? What is the amount of time that this, like the average duck is like underwater in that dive phase?
Yeah, it could be 10 seconds, could be up to 30 seconds down in the water. They're going to be swimming around looking for aquatic plants, aquatic insects. And they're going to go down, 2 or 3 feet into the water. So generally you're going to be into some deeper water areas. That's why we generally don't see the redheads in our shallow marshes. The marshes at Montezuma are typically quite shallow. They're only a foot or 2 deep. Good places to see them are in the larger Finger Lakes.
And obviously we are getting some really good weather right now for hiking. Obviously it's been a little off and on rainy, but great weather coming up in the next week or so. Where are the best places to hike at Montezuma during hunting season?
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight the fact that up at Montezuma Audubon Center here, Route 89 in Savannah, we have 200 acres and 2 miles of trails. It's all New York State Department of Environmental Conservation property. And because of all the people that come to the Audubon Center and the programs that we offer, there is no hunting at Montezuma Audubon Center. So if folks are looking for a good, safe place to go for a stroll through forests around grasslands and marshes, Montezuma Audubon Center is a great place to do that. There are safe places to go down at the National Wildlife Refuge as well. Down at the Esker Brook and South Spring Pool trails. Those 2 trails are open for hiking through October 31st. And then starting on November 1st, hunting will be permitted at those 2 areas, and they'll be closed to hiking. Now, also at the National Wildlife Refuge, the Wildlife Drive will remain open for vehicular traffic only through November 30th. And then at that point, it'll be closed for deer hunting. So also wanted to highlight the fact that up here in Savannah, the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation has about 9,000 acres of property and about 20 miles of hiking trails. Now, all of these areas are open for hunting. That doesn't mean that they're closed to hiking. It just means that folks, if they're interested in going out and birding and enjoying various habitats and this bird migration, we suggest that they wear blaze orange. So that they are visible to everyone who is out on the properties. Even though it is deer hunting season and waterfowl hunting just started this past weekend, it's still a great time to be out, enjoying the trails, and just do it safely, wear blaze orange.
Speaking of bright colors, fall foliage, what are you seeing out there?
Well, we're finally reaching peak fall foliage. It was a bit delayed, and I have a feeling that was due to the fact that we were so warm. The temperatures are so mild. Back in September, we had a bunch of hot days, and even earlier this month, it was quite hot. So that delayed the fall foliage. But now we are reaching peak, seeing a lot of beautiful red, orange, and yellow colors. Still some green out there, but I think this week we're going to see a lot of folks coming out, not only for the birds enjoying migration, but also the spectacular fall foliage at Montezuma.
Birding tours every Wednesday in November. That sounds like it's going to be a busy few weeks for you guys. What's going on?
Yeah, we're so excited to relaunch our Montezuma birding tours. It's been a little bit of time. We now have educators on staff once again at the Audubon Center, and they're going to be leading guided driving excursions around the Montezuma Wetlands Complex every Wednesday. So it's starting next week, November 1st, and going right on through November 29th. Some days they're 10 a.m.s, other days they're at 2 p.m. All the The dates and registration is on our website, montezuma.audubon.org. These driving excursions are a great way for folks to learn the publicly accessible areas that we have across the Montezuma Wetlands Complex. They're going to be in our Audubon van with one of our educators, taking them to several birding hotspots. Sometimes we'll be at the National Wildlife Refuge, other areas. Other times we'll be up on the New York State DEC lands in Savannah. Enjoying the great variety of waterfowl that continue to pour into Montezuma, enjoying the songbirds that we have year-round with us. The eastern bluebird, for example, is now a species that we have year-round. Red-tailed hawks and, of course, bald eagles are always a possibility for us. And as we continue to go deeper into November, we expect the number of sandhill cranes to increase. Right now, we're seeing upwards of 50, and sometimes we're seeing more like 100 sandhill cranes in a single flock, which is very, very impressive. But I expect that number to increase, and if history repeats itself, we'll be in the 350 to 400 sandhill crane number as we go deeper into November. So these are guided excursions. They're about 2 hours long and just $15 per person. We're doing online registrations for all of these excursions. Again, folks can go to montezuma.audubon.org, click on that programs and events button, and then they'll see the list of dates and times, and that is where they can register.
Speaking of interesting programming for kids ages 5 to 9, Nature Detectives. What's that all about?
Yeah, again, our new educators have launched this Nature Detectives series for kids ages 5 to 9, and they're going to be taking place on Saturday afternoons, November 4th, November 18th, and December 2nd, all at 2 p.m. And the 3 different programs are going to focus on different wildlife that we have across the Montezuma Wetlands Complex. We're going to focus on birds, mammals, and reptiles. And it's going to be a multifaceted event, because each time that the kids come out to the Audubon Center, they're going to learn about the wildlife in their natural habitat, learn how to respect nature and its inhabitants, and how to navigate trails, which is a great skill to have. There'll be a brief lesson on the topic. We'll have a read-along book, and then we're going to go out on the trails for about a half a mile or so, investigating the birds of the wildlife that we have and their habitats, and have a nice scavenger hunt as well. Fee for this is just $10 per child. We do ask parents to come along, and parents are free. Again, registration is all online, montezuma.audubon.org.
And that's not all. Veterans Day and Thanksgiving weekend guided hikes. My God, you guys are busy. Have you figured out how to clone yourselves? Is that how you're making this happen?
Well, we're really excited to get back to more significant programming, and so our educators are hitting the ground running and leading some great programs here. So Veterans Day is Saturday, November 11th at 10 o'clock in the morning. We're welcoming veterans and folks who have veterans in their lives, and they might want to introduce them to Montezuma Audubon Center. We're going to be taking folks on a 2-hour, 2-mile leisurely stroll around the center grounds, going through the grassland, the forest, around the marshes, looking at all the birds, the wildlife. We'll be explaining how we manage these habitats at Montezuma. Great way to celebrate veterans and also nature. And then just after Thanksgiving, that Saturday, November 25th at 10 o'clock in the morning, we're giving thanks to nature and welcoming folks to join us again for a 2-hour, 2-mile excursion. Work off that turkey and all the fixings from Thanksgiving Day, a couple days prior. And we may even see some wild turkeys out at Montezuma Audubon Center on that day. Again, all of these programs are listed on our website, and folks can register there.
I think by that time we'll all need that walk, especially since the weather tends to get a little chillier and maybe we don't do as much outdoor activity as we should in November. Chris, thanks so much for the time today. We'll be talking to you next month.
It's always a pleasure, Josh. Thank you.
That'll do it for this edition of FLX Today. If you'd like to hear more conversations like this one, check out the show on your favorite podcast platform or subscribe to the FingerLakes1.com YouTube channel. Have a great day, and we will see you next time.